This next article from Newsweek, NPR and New Books in Defense of Looting. It's an opinion piece. Don't usually cover opinion pieces, but I will give credit where credit is due. Newsweek puts out a bunch of fake news all the time, but they do at least have a good balance in their opinion section. Albeit, I'm not sure whether or not presenting both sides of the argument equally when one side is cultural Marxist is appropriate. There's always been letters to the editor sections. This one says, I keep thinking about the interview I encountered on NPR's latest offering, a podcast called Code Switch Race in Your Face. And I've covered this code switch thing a number of times. These people up at Nonsense Private Radio have gone off the deep end. They're cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. They are taking our tax money. They're funding it to use to make hit pieces against candidates that I support. This is not what they're supposed to be doing. Makes it private radio. It's nonsense. So, journalist Natalie Escobar was interviewing the white Marxist academic Vicky Osterweel about the new book from Hatchet Group called Defense of Looting. And I keep thinking that 4 minority business owners in Minneapolis, 3 African Americans, 1 Hispanic, and what their response would have likely been to the latest offerings of one of America's premier book publishers and one of America's biggest taxpayer-funded media companies. First, let's go to the nonsense private radio. I started with Escobar asking white progressive authors with the definition of looting. When I used the word looting, I meant the mass expropriation of property, mass shoplifting during the moment of upheaval or riot. Osterweel began. That's the thing I'm defending. I'm not defending any situation which property is stolen by force. Rather than challenge the most Orwellian new definition of looting that was conjured in thin air by a guest, Escobar plowed ahead. The nonsense private radio enabler sought further clarification on reason why looting is morally defensible. Osterweel happily complied. Quote, it gets people what they need for free immediately, which means that they are capable of living ... their lives without having to rely on jobs or a wage, which during COVID times is wildly unreliable, or particularly in these communities is not available, or it comes at great risk, and quote, Osterweel explains. Osterweel then went to explain the political significance of looting, quote, while it attacks the very way in which food and things are distributed, it attacks the idea of property. It attacks the idea that in order for someone to have a roof over their head or a meal ticket, they have to work for a boss, Osterweel explained. And the reason is that the world is organized that way, obviously for the profit of people who in the stores and factories. So you get that heart of that property relation, and it demonstrates without police and without state oppression, we can have things for free. Welcome to 1984, dystopian America. This is Biden's America. This is Kamala the Snitch Harris's America. But Osterweel wasn't finished with her broadside against capitalism and private property. She was just getting going. Well, looting strikes the heart of property, of whiteness, of the police, and quote, Osterweel opinioned, quote, it gets to the very root of the way these things are interconnected. It also provides people with imaginative sense of freedom and pleasure, helps them imagine the world that could be, and think that a part of it that doesn't really get talked about. Riots and looting are experienced sort of jealousy and liberatory. Looting as joyous as liberatory. She's serious, or Hatchet and nonsense private radio serious. These people are serious, dude. These people have gone over the deep end, man. I've been covering so much NPR recently. It is nonsense private radio. Like, they've gone over the deep end, dude. Somebody, we need to defund NPR. So use the hashtag defund NPR. And you should comment below defund NPR. Personally think these people are a little bit over the deep end with their cultural Marxism shit. And we need to take their mic